You need this. You need this shirt. Sure, I'll put it on the website. Hate makes you stupid. Come in a variety of colors for you too. But yes. Oh, cool. So while Hector is getting that together, just a quick disclaimer, guys. As you know, this is the Fun and Fact Show where we dual stream to the tubes. And what we do is that we provide you with the news with a bit of a twist, all that good stuff. All right. Thank yous for like any gifts and also any donos will be given at the end of the stream. All right. We do it simply just so we can, stick to the news and keep it consistent. And yeah. But definitely, you know what? Show love, do all of the good things for both Hector and I. And, while we get through the news, because it's a lot to cover, but I ain't going to hold you. I don't have the bandwidth to cover it all. I am human after all. And I like to sleep at night. I'm not going to hold you. I do. I like to sleep at night. Hey. All right. Hector's favorite song is playing. That means it is time for the Fun and Facts Show. This is episode 21, and I am Erica Shante. All right, and this is my co-host. What's your name? Yes. And I said co-host, but I'm also his co-host. So we're each other's co-hosts. I want y'all to understand that. All right. Okay. This is a team effort. All right. Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay. With that being said, y'all can find us on all social media platforms. Again, I'm Erica Shante. That's on the Tube, Instagram, Twitch, and also TikTok. And you can find Hector at Hector Talks with 2 R's on all platforms also. All right. So make sure you do all of the good things and like and subscribe as you go along. And with that being said, I'm just a mom who has dreams of becoming a political commentator and, hopefully just spreading a message of joy and sometimes not giving a fuck. That'll be me. We just laugh and say one line. Welcome to the Fun and Fact Show, where good vibes always flow. Laugh a little, learn a little more. Awesome. Great. And guys, again, this is the Fun and Facts Show. So thank you all so very much for being with us here, where you can catch your weekly news updates with a twist. All right. And I'm going to do this thing, right, where I'm not going to talk. I'm just kidding. I'm going to talk. I promise. I'm going to talk today. I promise. All right. Hector, did you want to kick us off?
I can do that, actually. I have a horrible story to go over.
Ooh,
South
let's
Carolina
get that out of the way first.
Is down bad. And it's down so bad that I have to agree with a Republican in his position on a recent bill that was passed in regards to those dreadful words, abortion. I will pull up that video here. But you know what? Yeah, actually, I will pull up that video here and then I'm going to soften the blow with some good news in regards to the things that Democrats are doing. Because I know it's easy to get up on here every day and see the state of the world and go, we're screwed. And Democrats are doing nothing.
Yeah.
They are. Do I want more focuses on other things? Yes. But they are doing some pretty good things that I do want to go over with you. Someone broke it down in an exceptional way. First and foremost, before we get the show started, you guys already know what to do. Make sure you're engaging with the engagement, double tapping, sharing out the live with your friends and family, repost, adding to your story, send your daily heart me's, knock out all the respective gift goals, and then links in the bio. Friendly reminder, we do not read any donations off until the end of the show. So if you do send a donation, it's not read off. It's not because we don't want to. We just try to keep this streamlined, but we greatly appreciate all of your support, and you will get your thanks. And then links have everything else. Let me pull up this video here, and this is going to be an interesting test because if I'm not mistaken, I think when you play videos on Chrome, they can hear it this way, but not when I do it. So I think I'll have to mute Chrome audio when you're playing and unmute. We'll figure it out.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll fuck around and find out. Let me get this up on the screen. Oh, I did it here. The name of this Republican is Tom Davis. Tom Davis out of South Carolina. I think I said North Carolina at first. I meant South Carolina. And he went off in a way that surprised me.
What he do?
Go and put this up here on the screen. That's me. I did not mean to move me. I'm gonna lock that here in Chrome. Should have hit up Maze, bro. All right, here we go. This is the clip here. This was covered on Brut, and this took place on the 22nd. I did not get to update myself on where the bill is currently at and what the protests or responses have been in South Carolina. But here it is here, and let me unmute this one. And, oh boy, wait, I think that may play two audios. I think that's playing two audios, hold on. One second, are you guys getting two audios over on the tube side? Let me mute that one. Yeah, you are, okay. I got it now. Let me restart, and we'll play this clip.
Draconian, insensitive, disrespectful abortion bill in this country. I don't want to be associated with this. I don't want the party that I'm affiliated with to be associated with this. I'm embarrassed. Women are not just simply vehicles or receptacles for children to be born. They're sentient human beings with rights. The bill that was passed yesterday in medical affairs assigns no rights to the woman sent from Charleston, bans abortions from the moment of conception, eliminates the exception for when the pregnancy is caused by rape, eliminates the exception for when the pregnancy is caused by incest, Senator from Williamsburg, eliminates the exception for when a physician says that that baby in the womb cannot survive outside the womb, missing vital organs, missing a brain, for whatever reason, forcing the woman, conscripting her body, making her carry that child with a fatal fetal anomaly to term. It is the most draconian, insensitive, disrespectful abortion bill in this country. But it doesn't stop there, Senator from Colleton. It doesn't stop there. You know what else it does? It subjects a woman to imprisonment for up to 2 years. So if my daughter were raped and she decided that she wanted to have an abortion, she'd go to jail. If my daughter were raped and the physician diagnosed
trigger warning
that unborn child with a fatal fetal anomaly and she wanted an abortion so she didn't have to carry it to term, she'd go to jail. Go to jail. The physician who would assist a woman in that context would be guilty of a felony and go to jail for 20 years. Not just the woman, though. Not just the physician, though. We're going to do something different. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go ahead and make it a RICO violation. We're going to take organized crime RICO statute, and everybody, except from Williamsburg, who was associated with that decision, doctor, nurse, physician assistant, the receptionist who booked the appointment, they're all going to go to jail. Now, this sounds like something Kafkaesque. It sounds like something unreal. It passed out of medical affairs with every single member of my party, the Republican Party, voting for it. Voting for it. That worries me because there are 34 Republicans in this Senate. We are doing something extremely dangerous. And this particular amendment that the Senator from Spartanburg put on the desk, directing PEBA to surveil and report women who have miscarriages, is yet the next step in this process. The next step in this process. I don't want to be associated with this. I don't want the party that I'm affiliated with to be associated with this. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. Now, we have lots of things that we have to debate. Healthcare access. I can go on and on and on. But we spent an inordinate amount of time and a heavy lift to get this thing before y'all. It's on the calendar. It's there before you. I rise today, and I'm glad the Senator from Spartanburg offered this amendment, because somebody has to yell, stop. We've jumped the shark on this. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Eliminating the exceptions for rape and incest, forcing, even worse than that, Senator from Orangeburg, a rapist has the right to compel the woman to carry to term, because this bill says that both parents have to agree before an abortion occurs. So you have a situation where, under this bill, passed out of committee, is on this calendar, a rapist can stand in the way of parents wanting the child to avoid having to carry that child conceived out of rape to term. Now, I've heard, punish the offender, don't punish the unborn child. I've heard that. There was a famous analogy back in the 70s, I can't remember what it's called, the famous violinist analogy, where it imagines this, it's a thought experiment. Suppose you wake up one day and you're in a hospital bed and you're hooked up to a famous violinist. And the doctor says to you, you have to remain hooked up to that famous violinist for 9 months, or that violinist is going to die. That person lying there hooked up had nothing to do with that, is innocent. Can the state then say to that person, you're going to lie there for 9 months and keep that violinist alive? Is that what we're going to do? That is not what we're going to do. Women are not just simply vehicles or receptacles for children to be born. They're sentient human beings with rights. This amendment and the road we're going down ignores those rights. It is extremist, it is cruel, it is not reflective of what South Carolinians are, and it's not reflective of who I am, and I hope and I pray it's not reflective of what the Republican Party is. Thank you, Mr. President.
So, that is the
Holy shit.
Protecting Unborn Children Act, S 1095 in South Carolina, that passed the House and is in the Senate currently. And that's what
was the name of that senator that was just speaking?
Tom Davis. That was Tom Davis.
Tom Davis.
And I think this is crazy because this was passed in the Senate or advanced, a near total abortion ban. I believe that was the amendment that he was talking about. Mind you, Tom Davis is a Republican. He's a Republican who serves South Carolina. He isn't a fan of abortion. But this amendment, they're shooting to completely get rid of the exceptions of rape and incest. And this is where he drew the line. I may not respect all of his views, but even he realized how, he said it perfectly, draconian this policy is. So I can respect Tom Davis on that aspect of it. And the criminalization of the doctors, the patients, the giving the rapist, the offender, more rights and access on what to do in regards to that body, in regards to that fetus, the child, which would then translate over to when this child was born. So now a woman could be forced visitation and otherwise for the person who took away her dignity. Not take away her dignity, excuse me, violated her dignity. That's South Carolina for you. Pretty dark shit, guys. It's some pretty dark shit. I don't have much words for that. When I saw it earlier, it just kind of jarred me that it even got this far. I mean, if they're anything like our main Congress, maybe it'll get held up in the Senate forever, but this is South Carolina we're talking about, so who knows?
Jesus Christ, a lot of these things.
On that note,
I don't have any words. Like, women aren't incubators, and also, like, this is just free reign on little girls.
coupled with the recent actions in Georgia,
That's disgusting.
where, well, yes, I believe I saw something about the Supreme Court temporarily lifting like a slight restriction that they had on AB pills. I did see that. There's still a woman in Georgia who got one of those pills and took it at 6 weeks pregnant. and is currently being prosecuted to hell in that state. 6 weeks. You're prosecuting a woman for that. Now on to the good news, because I think we all could use some. Let me pull this video up here. We get the question all the time. What are the Democrats doing right now? And while I can agree with many sentiments that they're not doing enough in certain regards to restrict the powers of the President of the United States, I think on the state and local level, especially in blue states, we are seeing a lot of fantastic things go through. And this creator that I discovered today actually broke it down in a fantastic way. This is something I've actually been thinking about doing weekly, especially in light of all the bad news that we have going on, is compiling a sheet of all the different wins that we have. It's easy to point to the special elections that we've been sweeping for the past year, the majority of them. It's easy to point to some things in the federal legislative branch, but on the local level, I think it's important that we broadcast that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and play this part here. Restart.
In California, they're now giving a $20,000 tax credit to In California, they're now giving a $20,000 tax credit to retired veterans. In New York City, free buses have been added to the upcoming budget. Virginia capped utility rate increases. Governor Josh Stein in North Carolina signed a bill to save Medicaid for over 700,000 people. Public universities are tuition free in Minnesota for low and middle income families. Individualized and predatory pricing is now legal in Maryland. Virginia made it illegal for data brokers to sell customers' locations. Governor Ferguson signed a bill imposing a tax on income over $1 million to fund free school meals and childcare for Washington families. Governor Sherrill signed an executive order to dramatically increase housing production. In Virginia, corporate wage theft can now be considered a felony offense, and they also made it illegal for employers to access employees' wage history, which is often used to undercut employees' salaries and pay you less. Attorney General Jeff Jackson successfully blocked Nexstar and Tegna merger, which would have made all of our cable and TV bills go up. Rhode Island banned assault weapons. Paid family and medical leave is the law in Virginia. Oregon Governor Kotek signed a law banning private equity from buying homes for sale that have been on the market for less than 90 days. Governor Spanberger signed a law enshrining a legal right to contraception. New Mexico governor is going after welfare fraud, instead of the Republican method of just gutting it completely. California now gets 2/3 of its energy from clean sources. Rhode Island just increased their minimum wage to $17 an hour. Colorado now has one of the strongest right to repair laws in the country, which is when corporations cannot make products that are impossible for a third party to fix. Governor Newsom signed a law requiring financial literacy be taught to all students in California. Junk fees were banned in Massachusetts. Governor Sherrill froze utility rate hikes. Iowa State Auditor Rob Sand recovered $29 million of taxpayer funds. That's the most in Iowa history. Virginia Democrats repealed a ban on same-sex marriage. California capped insulin at $35. Governor Mills in Maine made community college free. California has universal pre-K now. New Mexico has made all public universities free for everybody. Victims of gun violence in Virginia can sue gun manufacturers. Connecticut now has paid family and medical leave. New York students are now guaranteed free lunch. Police officers in Maryland are prohibited from partnering with ICE. Virginia Democrats passed legislation allowing one click to cancel subscriptions. North Carolina Attorney General Jeff Jackson won against Big Pharma and collected $202 million for patients who were illegally overprescribed medication. Minnesota guaranteed reproductive rights for all of its citizens. Democratic attorney generals came together and defeated Ticketmaster in court. California cracked down on fraud, and they recovered over $5.1 billion for taxpayers. And New York City's first city-owned grocery store is opening in East Harlem. I ran out of paper, but the Democratic Party has been doing a ton all across the country. I am so...
The name of that creator is Mary Carol W., at least over on the TikTok side. And I'll put that down the chat. I watched the... let me do this. I watched a couple of their videos, and actually was able to... I had a little time, but I was able to go through a couple of things that they mentioned there on a fact-checking basis. I try to fact-check everything I hear. She's not wrong. She's telling the truth. I wanted to highlight some of the things that she mentions, because some of that shit I was actually shocked wasn't illegal before, or something that was being tackled before. Such as when she mentioned specifically, first off, a lot of those things that she talked about was in Minnesota. And we actually played a clip last Fun and Fact show of Tim Walz being heckled when he was having his last hearing address to the State of the Union, the actual state, the Minnesota State of the Union, addressing Republicans and Democrats, where he was heckled by Republicans when he said it would be his last one. And then he said the things that we passed here in the state will go on for decades, and everyone cheered. A lot of those things she mentioned was just recently passed in the state of Minnesota, things that are helping the average Minnesotan. When it comes to the Ticketmaster court case that was won, to be fair, and I hate to do this, but I have to give Donald Trump some credit. He did pass an executive order earlier on last year that directed more of these departments to actually tackle some of the price gouging of Ticketmaster, but it was Democrats who took on those cases very strongly and was able to get that recent win in court. The wins that we have in regards to universal pre-K, free meals for people making over $1 million, or with revenue made from the taxes of people make over $1 million. The fact that it wasn't illegal, or now it is now illegal in that one state, to then take someone's previous pay history and use it to demean them. Because everyone who's done a job interview knows that when they ask you what you got paid at your last job, you don't tell them that because they're going to use it to wage it. Now they're protecting you even further, saying employers cannot use your previous history to try and say, oh, well, you only deserve this and you're only going to get that. Those are all huge wins on the state level, like seriously huge wins. And that gave me a little sliver of hope on the good things that are happening on the state level, that unfortunately I don't live in any of those states.
Yeah. I think the thing is that like a lot of this stuff would kind of like make the news. It wouldn't be like a headline, but it may be a byline, right? And it would make the news, but we have an administration that literally just floods the zone every single day, that a lot of this good stuff gets buried in the national news cycle. So I think so. So that's why it's important to pay attention to what you're doing. It's like what's happening locally and statewide around you. So make sure you're not just tuning in to the legacy media or to, let's say, even ground news and things like that. Make sure that you're also checking out your local news stations and your local papers. Also, check them out, see what's going on around you.
6,000%. I seriously implore you guys to find one, find two, find several. There's the creators like me, and unfortunately, like we do a lot of debates, and I'm trying to shift more so from those, especially with videos. But I would highly implore you to also check out the content creators, check out the live streams that are also going over the good news, which Erica and I do. But obviously, you know who comes into our lives and what they want. So make sure you're checking out the content creators who are putting out the truth. And the good news that is happening in the world, because it seems like it's all bad, but I promise you it is not. So shout out to Mary Carol W. I put her name down in the chat there as well. I do not know if she's on YouTube, but I'll put her name over there too. But that's let me put this here.
Awesome. All right. So I think it's time to talk about redistricting. But before we do that, Hector, can we get a commercial break?
Yes, we can. Welcome in, everyone. This is episode 21 of the Fun and Fact Show, where I am the
I'm the fun and
I am the facts.
There we go.
And I couldn't be factual in that moment. Sorry, guys. Rough day. I have a headache. Anyways, appreciate every last one of you for being here. Make sure we are doing all of the good things with the engagement. At some point in time, we are going to get to, Eric and I talked about this, creating a dedicated YouTube channel for these streams and for these shows. We're trying to get this out there. This can also be the platform, as we're talking about more content creators and networks that are talking about the good news. This is one of those platforms that does that. Every single week, we typically have something happening on the state level or federal where we're singing the praises of people who are out here doing the work, the people that we voted for. So make sure that we're pushing out content like this. You can do so through a couple of ways. Your engagement is super duper important. So always making sure you're double tapping the screen. Always making sure you're double tapping the screen. Those of you at work, do the best you can. Send your daily heartbeats. Consider becoming a fan club member. It's just once a week for $1. Share out the live with your friends and family. Also repost and add it to your story. Broadcasting this in those different mediums will get more people in there for the engagement, so we can stop bullying you guys. knock out our little gift goals here that we set either in the TikTok app, or of course there's going to be the links in the bio for the best ways to support. Erica and I have other social media platforms that we also post and stream to, such as YouTube and Instagram. We both have public Discord communities where a lot of the information that we talk about here is posted there first, and you can get the firsthand news on top of other engaging events such as movie nights and otherwise. You may also choose to subscribe there if you don't choose to become a super fan here. We both have websites where we sell merchandise. I'm actually wearing one of mine and I have one in the back as well. Erica's fully decked out in hers, including her new line, Hate Makes You Stupid. There is nothing educational, there's nothing wise about being a bigot. So I really appreciate that shirt, and I want one in several colors. And then, of course, you may donate directly to the links in the bio. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Erica even goes as far as to have a Zelle. We will not read those out until the end of the stream, but thank you all for your support if you want to see us continue to do what we do here. With that being said, Erica, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Hector. All right. So let's talk about redistricting. Okay. So we know that the Trump admin has been on the warpath. I'm just going to call it what it is. They've been on the warpath to actually redistrict several red states in order to give the Republican Party more power within Congress, all right, to basically widen the gap between the Democratic Party and the Republicans and give them what he wants, which is a supermajority. So let's see what we have going on, because if you guys recall, last fall, Indiana state senators, Republicans at that part of the GOP, declined to actually redistrict the map in Indiana. That was a swift and hard blow to Donald Trump, who definitely thought that it was going to happen. And of course, in anger, he threatened to primary them, and it happened. It did. It happened. Because of his threats, what's happened is that 5 of the 7 that he threatened to primary have lost. Travis Holtman, he saw his seat go away. Well, he lost the primary to Blake Fletcher. James Buck saw his go to Tracy Powell. Grant Walker, he lost his to Michelle Davis, and Dan Dumock, I hope I pronounced that right, lost his to Trevor Devine. I'm sorry, guys, I don't have my glasses today, so I bitch can't see. All right. He lost his to Trevor DeVries, and Linda Rogers, she lost her seat to Brian Schmaltzer. Spencer Deary, his was too close to call. He's out of District 23. His race against Paula Copenhaver was too close to call. So we're going to have to wait on the runoff for that one. They're going to have to do another vote, or they're going to just keep on counting. And Greg Good, he's safe. Greg is safe. I do recall that when this all went down, a lot of the senators basically positioned themselves as constitutionalists and said that redistricting right now goes against their state's constitution, and they just didn't feel right doing so. And unfortunately, even though Donald Trump's approval ratings are in the toilet and they continue to sink as the Iran war is more unfavorable than the Vietnam War, according to reports, he still holds some power because 5 of them lost their, not 5, I'm sorry, 6 of them lost their seats last night. So with that being said, I think we want to take a look at some other redistricting challenges that are going on, specifically in Virginia and in the and in Louisiana. Louisiana, of course, being the biggest because of the governor's most recent actions there. So let me get that pulled up for you all. All right, there we go. Okay. So as we know, is that the Supreme Court went ahead and ruled that their map from 2024 that they were able to implement when they created a second majority minority district in Louisiana was actually unconstitutional. They did deem it basically racial gerrymandering, and they kind of flipped Section 2 back on its head and said that Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act will stand as its original intent, which was you have to prove intent over the outcomes of gerrymandering when making a claim for racial gerrymandering. So what Governor Landry has gone ahead and done is that he has issued an executive order, all right, and in that executive order, let me make sure I have it here. It was Executive Order JML 26-038. He did this on the 30th of April, so last week, and he actually suspended the May 16th congressional primary and delayed it until July. And this is to allow the legislator out there time to redraw the districts. I do think that that is very concerning because the whole thing is that the map itself was found to be gerrymandered based off of race. So this district was created because of that. But if you're changing the map basically in the inverse, wouldn't that also be still based off of race, right? Would it not still be based off of race? So is like, what are we doing here? There, of course, has been a lawsuit, a class action lawsuit, Garcia versus Landry, was definitely filed immediately after this. And it was filed against Landry, the governor, the attorney general, and the secretary of state. And the plaintiffs are arguing that that Landry overstepped his authority by using his emergency powers, which are typically only reserved for natural disasters, to halt an election already in progress. The main thing here is that there have been hundreds of thousands of ballots already cast in regards to this election because it was coming up May 16th. Like, what are we doing? All right. So it was already cast and people don't know. And there's a lot of confusion going around with it. People think that the entire election has been suspended, but that isn't the case. It's really only for the House seats in the federal government, right? And with everything else that they're voting for in Louisiana in this upcoming primary is still ongoing, but a lot of people don't know that. So I think it's very important that I think like the Democrats within that state need to keep like speaking up. They also, I think there needs to be more of a push to get that information out via the media to let people know that you still do vote in Louisiana on the 16th of May. It's just that you're not voting for the House seats. Everything else you're still voting for. So if you're Louisiana, please, please, please still get out and vote. All right, still vote and don't miss your chance to exercise your civic duty. And additionally, another thing is that what it is that they are arguing in regards to this is, again, is that he overstepped his authority, which it makes sense. So we will have to see how that goes. And what's happening is that the citizens, again, they're confused and they aren't happy. All right. There's deep frustration going on. Also, another thing is that, again, the whole like optics of this, all right, is giving that Louisiana wants a return to like Jim Crow era tactics, right? They want to eliminate the Democratic representation there, and of course reduce Black political influence within the state of Louisiana. Simply just another form of erasure is what it is that they want to do. We'll have to see what happens. And a three-judge district court is actually reviewing the state's plan for redrawing the map. And also the state court is considering like the legality of the governor's primary suspension. And in good news here, all right, in Louisiana, is that the citizens are getting, active. All right, they've been galvanized to act. All right, on the 4th of May, this past Monday, two Baton Rouge residents, Marion Hills and Caitlin Stepter, they filed a petition with the Secretary of State to recall Governor Landry. All right, and this is a long shot, but if it works, it works. All right. And they have basically 180 days from the 4th of May to get everyone together to gather the necessary support. And what they'll be able to do is, these are just some of the hurdles, but I think they can get over it if they can get enough signatures. All right. So in the state of Louisiana does not play around. Like, I honestly think that if Louisiana could just set a board to have them, elect who's going to represent them, they would. The citizens wouldn't have a choice. All right. But in the state of Louisiana, to trigger this recall election that they do want to do, they must meet this criteria. All right. The signatures, they must collect 20% of the state's registered voters. All right. They have about 2.5 million active voters within the state. And so that'll be about 884,000 valid handwritten signatures that they'll need. Also, they must submit all of the signatures to the parish registers by October 31st of this year. And each and every signature must be verified by the local registers before being sent to the Secretary of State for final certification. All right. If we look at the historical context of this, is extremely rare that recalls do happen. We do want to say that I believe it was it Jerry Brown? It was Jerry Brown, I believe, in California who was recalled. And also there was a recall in North Dakota at one point for a governor. So it's a rare occurrence that a governor is actually recalled, but it can be done. Right? It's rare, but it has happened. So that's what's going on in Louisiana. We're just going to have to wait and see. Myself, I am going to be speaking on a Zoom call for the 92% along with Sweet Peaches and a few other of your favorite creators here on this app, along with local leaders. And what we're trying to do is we are trying to, that word again, galvanize, all right, the base, because we can't allow them to take away our voting rights. We can't. And I know people are like, well, you can still vote. We understand being able to still vote, but with the precedent being set here that we have to prove intent of racism versus the outward outcomes of racism, it makes it harder. So that means that these states will be able to just split our vote up as they see fit, dilute it as much as possible to where it means nothing. So we'll be able to vote in name only, but it won't mean anything. And I really do hate to say that, but that's what's happening here. Because if you take me from a district where I can vote for someone to represent me, all right, and the majority of the people vote the same way that I do, then okay, I feel safe. I can vote for someone that's going to take care of my best interest. But if you take me and you put me into a different district where the majority vote, let's say Republican, 100% of the time, then how is it that I am going to be able to, have my vote count and ever get someone in there that would have my best interest? Right? So I think people have to understand that it's not about it. When it comes to the candidates, it's not about the race of the candidates. All right? It's truly about the power of the vote. And whose power is it that they're trying to take away is when it becomes racial. So there's that for Louisiana. We're going to have to see. Once I have more information about the Galvanize to Vote initiative that Sweet Peaches created, I will definitely get that information out to you and how you can sign up. Again, this is for the 92%. If you know, you know. All right. And we're going to go from there. Let's talk about Virginia. Okay. So up next is... Oh, sure. I'm sorry.
Into your point. They already went for Tennessee's lone district. It's lone black district in Memphis.
Oh, fantastic.
They already went straight for it. So this whole idea of you having to prove racist intent, this is like being at a job where if a white guy has an issue with anyone, he'll say, oh, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're this. But then to the black person he has an issue with, he calls you a monkey. And then when you go to HR, he goes, I didn't call him a monkey because of its historical context with race. I called him a monkey because he was being silly. Like, that's basically what they can do with your state.
Yep.
And the reason for redistricting. They can say, well, I just did it for this other reason and completely ignore the racial ties. I just find it interesting that while we're arguing that some people are arguing that this is the better way, including some of you blackers, you black Republicans, the second this ruling was made, Tennessee and other states went immediately for the predominantly black districts. You can't say it's just about attacking Democrats when the majority of black people vote Democrat. You should win these districts. You should win your campaigns off of its merit, off of who has the best marketing, who has the best policies for people, not based off of party, especially when you know where black people lean. Sorry, go ahead.
Nope, you're good. That's a very fair point. We know that Florida, as soon as the decision hit, also, they went ahead and approved, the state legislature went ahead and approved their new map. So we have that. Again, it's not about the ability to vote. It's about the power behind your vote. We really have to, I'm going to have to drill that into people, Hector. Literally. But in Virginia, we know that Virginians did approve the redistricting plan that would have given the Democrats basically a 10-1 edge, so gaining them another 4 seats within the state. Right. But that immediately, of course, came under challenge within the state, too. And what we have going on there is once the vote was actually counted, because it passed with approximately 51.4% of the vote. All right. And the GOP immediately filed suit in order to go against it. What happened is that an injunction was issued on April 22nd of this year, of course, where the judge blocked the certification of the referendum results. All right. And the state Supreme Court on April 28th denied a request to lift that injunction. All right. So as of today in Virginia, the referendum results, like the vote, are still frozen. All right. That means that the map has not been implemented. The court is currently hearing oral arguments on whether the General Assembly had the constitutional authority to place the amendment on the ballot during a special session, which did not originally call for that purpose. So basically kind of say like, well, y'all didn't say y'all were going to do this, so y'all ain't going to be able to do this. So you couldn't do it. So we'll have to see what happens there. In the state, again, it was a narrow margin. They won the majority, which is still a great thing. So at 51.4% of the vote. But it wasn't a strong majority, if that makes sense. It was a majority. But it wasn't like they won by like 10 percentage points or anything. But many Virginian voters are just basically saying that they're going to trust in the process. All right. Some have basically said that they're confused about the special election timing being in April, which is unusual for Virginia. But the Democrats, of course, in the state are viewing it as a necessary correction to fairness. All right. And of course, the Republican voters are saying that it's an illegal circumvention of the 2021 Independent Redistricting Committee that the state of the Commonwealth actually set up, where they use this commission to actually draw the vote, not draw the vote, but to map out their districts rather than the legislator doing it. But here we are. We just have to kind of just wait and see what happens with all of these. I do want to point everyone to this cool resource. All right. And this is a list of all of the primaries. All right. And when they're happening, and pretty much like what you'll be voting for in regards to state seats, and also in regards to state seats, and what else is it? State seats and the Senate and the House. There we go. My apologies. I don't know why I got like really like messed up on that one. All right. This one comes from the Federal Voting Assistance Program, which is fvap.gov. All right, again, that's the Federal Voting Assistance Program. All right, so definitely make sure you check this out. Like, we know that Arizona has their primary coming up on July 21st. All right, and we're not voting for the Senate, so that means that Mark Kelly, all right, and Gallego and Ruben Gallego are both safe, but we are going to be voting on 9 House seats. So there's that. All right. Let me look at Texas because that's where you are. Texas already had their primary in March.
Right.
And then the runoff is going to be happening on the 26th of May. So that's coming up soon, y'all. That is coming up soon. All right. And you will be voting for senator, as we know. So James Tallarico is out there. And also 38 House seats are up. All right. Again, this is going to be at fvap.gov. All right. Again, that is fvap.gov. All right. And that stands for the Federal Voting Assistance Program. All right. Take a look at it. Look at this list. Find your state. See when your primary is. And make sure you get out there to vote. If you have the ability to do this for people, please consider like taking friends and family with you to vote. If you know some people in your neighborhood who don't have transportation, consider taking them to vote. Just make sure that folk get out there to vote. Okay? Make sure that you do it. So then that way, you know, we can get the Democratic candidates in there, all right, that you want to vote, not vote, but you want to represent your best interests. All right. And then come November 3rd of this year, all right, we can all vote for those people within our states in order to represent us. We have to do the good things. Okay. So there's that. Pretty cool. Hector, did you have another one that you wanted to talk about?
I did really quickly, and
Okay.
I am not knocking anyone for not knowing this because I recently learned these terms specifically. But please understand the difference between packing, stacking, and cracking.
Yes.
Please understand the difference in all those different things and how it's been utilized against our community, how it's immediately being jumped to in Tennessee, Louisiana, and other states right now. I don't know how anyone can say with their full chest they do understand those concepts, but don't understand how these redistricting wars is ultimately going to impact Black people the most. It's going to hit us the hardest, going to disenfranchise us the hardest. If you don't know about that shit, go look it up. And before you come talk to me about, oh, you can still vote. It's no problem. No one took your vote away. Sick of these.
Again, it's about the power of the vote, not the right to vote. Again, it's basically going to allow us to vote in name only. And I would say one of the most effective ones that they use with the gerrymandering tactics is cracking. Cracking is where they take a district and basically they slice, like they crack the neighborhoods and they put them into other districts. And so like for me, I'm sorry for going on if I'm ranting, but just to use an example, like for me in my city, I would say like the center of the city, because it's just basically a big ass suburb is what it is. But like the center of the suburb, all right, majority of those people vote Republican, all right? And on like the outer part, all right, of the city, mostly Democratic, right? Mostly Democratic. So what they can do with our district, let's pretend this is our district, what they can do is that if we just have this part in the middle that is voting Republican, let's say they represent 40% in the middle and then 60% on the outskirts votes Democrat, that means we always have Democratic representation, right? And the inverse can work in, let's say, a majority Republican district. So what they'll do to further dilute that is they'll take it and the border where the 60% is, they'll crack it. So they'll start taking it and they'll take this part and they'll put 20% in another district. Then they'll take another 20% and put it in that district, right? And then 10% and put it in another district. So now, all right, where it used to be 60% would vote majority Democratic, all right, now we're only left with 10% that votes Democratic and still that 40% that votes Republican, all right? But now that 40% is actually 90%. That's how they crack it. All right, so instead of putting us all into one, which is packing, they take it and they split it up. And that's going to be your cracking, which is the most effective. Again, it definitely dilutes the vote. I definitely think that taking a moment's time, whether it is if you're on the way home or if you just have some downtime, whatever time it is that you may have, just take a few moments and maybe just search for a documentary. And when I say documentary, I mean like something short, not more than 10, 30 minutes tops, that just goes over like the history of gerrymandering. I'll find a good one for you all and I'll share it. I've done a lot of reading about it. So I'll find a good documentary and share it. But I think it's because sometimes it's easier for us to listen than it is for us to like actually watch.
Yes, that's true.
And read and all that jazz. So that's cool. But what story did you have, Hector?
Too quickly, one a little bit to add on to that and talk more about Tennessee for a bit.
Okay.
Your majority black district, obviously based in Memphis, this is represented by Steve Cohen. This is the opinion of a particular sleazeball in your state. The Supreme Court has opined, it's opined, I believe, that redistricting, like
it's opined.
Thank
yes.
you. Redistricting, like the judicial system, should be colorblind. The decision indicated states like Tennessee can redistrict based on partisan politics. State House Speaker Cameron Sexton said in a statement. This is another reason why I've been screaming from the rooftops as of late. Your House Speaker is super duper freaking important. And we're going to get back to Lieutenant Governor as well, because the runoff here in Texas on the 26th of this month is for Lieutenant Governor. Lieutenant Governor decides what goes to the legislative branches to be voted on and what doesn't get seen. So when it comes to our increase in taxes, more school education, that's ultimately going to be the Lieutenant Governor. So super important election there. Tennessee's redistricting will reduce the risk of future legal challenges while promoting sound and strategic conservatism. The suit of legislation Sexton and Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson filed Wednesday also seeks to change a state law that only allows lawmakers to enact new district maps once each decade. So now they're trying to ramp up how much they can stack, pack, and why did I blank on the third word now? You know what I'm trying to say. Crack. Thank you.
Crack.
Sexton and Johnson said in a joint statement they expected both chambers, where Republicans have sizable majorities, to hold floor votes on the proposal on Thursday, tomorrow. They are rushing this through, much like Texas did with SB 4. Tennessee's primaries are scheduled to take place August the 6th. So you guys have very late primary. Please make sure you're paying attention to it. Do not lose track. It's super important that every single person who supports this has a threat to their seat come this midterms election. The other story that I wanted to go over, we have yet another House Republican under the scope for alleged sexual assault. Chuck Edwards. Two House Republicans who were key last month in helping oust a pair of colleagues facing sexual misconduct allegations are now eyeing GOP Rep. Chuck Edwards, the two-term North Carolina lawmaker being investigated by... what's going on in the Carolinas right now? Man, North and South is wild.
A lot.
North and South is wildin'. Being investigated by the Ethics Committee for allegedly having an improper relationship with a subordinate and sexually harassing staff. Quote, any member of Congress engaging in an inappropriate relationship with staff needs to go, Anna Paulina Luna said when asked about the allegations against Edwards. Nancy Mace, fuck her, but whatever, said in a statement, we stand with those who came forward and we expect the Ethics Committee to move swiftly and hold those who committed wrongdoing fully accountable. Platitudes. In a statement Tuesday, Edwards said the baseless allegations are designed to impact the campaign driven by those who want to settle old political scores. These are people who worked under you. I don't know what political score they would benefit from because they would be Republican. So even if they don't like you, they would still be on your side of the policies. There's that. But Mace and Luna are two of the GOP's most vocal advocates for victims of sexual misconduct, except when it comes to the President of the United States. I added that part. And most effective at amplifying their message on social media. They publicly pushed for the resignations last month of Eric Swalwell and Tony Gonzalez, who were forced to leave office amid Ethics Committee investigations into accusations of sexual impropriety involving staffers. Gonzalez admitted to the affair with a staffer, while Swalwell has apologized for lapses in his judgment but denied allegations of sexual assault. I listened to his apology, and I just thought it was very interesting. What do you mean you apologize for lapses in judgment? What was the lapse in judgment for? Like, how do you say you had lapses in judgment, but I didn't assault anyone? How does that work? Anyway,
I don't know.
Mason Luna's new.
I was thinking when I heard it, I thought that he was saying that the lapse in judgments were like having affairs. All right. So I don't know if that was an admission of the assaults. I was thinking he was admitting to having the affairs, but at the same time, it could go that way too.
Yeah.
Which one he was admitting to? I don't know.
So now you're going, something did happen, but it was consensual. I don't know about that one. Mason
Whatever
Luna's
happened
new
was
warnings.
disgusting.
Yes. New warnings for Edwards, whose investigation by the Ethics Committee was confirmed by 2 people briefed on the matter, granted anonymity to share details of confidential proceedings, also come during the most significant reckoning over inappropriate behavior on Capitol Hill since the Me Too era. So, yet another Republican. And this is what I find interesting about all the people who've been screaming about Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell, because I heard a guy, I think he came up on your panel the other day where he said, oh, when it comes to the left and the right, there's no moral high ground because you guys had a sexual assaulter. And then I said, look how long it took for us to get him out of there versus Tony Gonzalez in Texas. Tony Gonzalez has had these allegations against him for going on 2 years now. No one cared. It took Eric Swalwell and our swift action on him during an election here to make Republicans actually go, we're already taking a bunch of heat for excusing a sexual assaulter in the Oval Office. Maybe we should, throw this guy off. Get him out of here so we can throw people off. That's what it took for Republicans to act.
Part.
So we had accountability. Swift action was taken. You don't get to pull this whole Democrats are the same argument. It's not the case.
You don't. And let's not forget. I think the thing is I think it's weird to kind of point the finger and be like, well, you do it too, in a sense, with these things, and because it's bad. And I don't see anyone defending it on a certain particular side, like we see people defending it on another, especially when these same people voted for a person who has several allegations against them, several credible allegations against them. He just so happens to have never have faced prosecution for it. Additionally, he also was found, civilly liable for sexually abusing a woman. You know what I mean? For any other person, I was talking to my uncle today real quick, Hector. I was talking to my uncle, and 27-year military veteran, right? And my uncle, he mentioned, he was like, he knew it was a wrap for this country, right? When the Access Hollywood tape came out and Donald Trump said that he could grab him by the P word, and they just let you do it, And he said he knew that it was over at that point. It was a wrap because of the simple fact that if that was any other candidate, it would have been over for them. Over. And again, Donald Trump has made inappropriate comments to his staff live on TV, like when he was oddly and creepily commenting on Caroline Leavitt's looks. I don't know if anyone recalls that, but he did that when he was at some event and he was commenting on the young lady's looks, and she was a presenter there. And he's just disgusting. He's disgusting. But if that was anyone else, guess what? They wouldn't be in office right now. But for some reason or another, I don't know. I really do think these people see themselves in Donald Trump, and he's all they've ever wanted to be because he continuously gets away with doing all of the bad things. And they want to be able to be just as vile as he is. I'm sticking to that one. Anywho, yeah. So let's talk about Hantavirus. No? No? Yeah. Did you all know that the Hantavirus is spread by rodents? Yes, rodents. All right. That would be mice, rats, and voles. Yep. Nasty. Yep. So the Hantavirus is definitely is going around, unfortunately. Let's get into that one. All right. So let's see here. Oh, couldn't capture it. Let me bring it up for us here. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I don't want to go into Hantavirus yet. I don't. I want to go into this one right here. My apologies. Let's see if it'll let us do it. So here's what had happened, y'all. All right. So Pamela Yvette, speaking of the Carolinas, this is about South Carolina State, right?
Oh my God.
So South Carolina State University is a HBCU, right? All right. They're HBCU. And within this HBCU, right, what had happened was, for some reason or another, all right, the admin thought that it'd be a good idea to have the lieutenant governor of South Carolina come and speak at their commencement. This is a HBCU. The majority of the students at this HBCU are in fact Black. And Pamela Yvette, all right, is a white woman who is staunchly against DEI. Well, I should say DEIA. She has even gone as far to calling it woke ideology, as she's also a fervent, how you say that word, Hector? Fervent? Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. A fervent supporter of Donald Trump's. All right. Basically, she be saying racist shit, is what she says. And hey, I didn't ask you nothing, Siri. Okay. Sorry. Siri started talking.
Wait.
But no.
Fervent.
What? Fervent. Thank you. Appreciate you. Fervent. All right. You just gonna let me get away with saying fervent?
I said fervent, then you said fervent. That's why I Googled it.
Okay. Appreciate you. All right. We was both wrong. Got to go to fucking enunciation school. It's crazy work around here, man.
I Google words like
what was I
10, 20
saying?
times a day.
Oh yeah, she racist, y'all. That's all there is to it. I'm calling that spade a spade. She's a racist. Okay? And with her being as such, she is mad at the students of South Carolina State University. So this woman is legitimately threatening to defund the HBCU. Like, that is wicked work. Wicked work. The students organized and were able to basically get her commencement speech canceled because they don't want her there, right? Nobody wants her there. She's also running for governor, which she's a weirdo, all right? And this is what she says. She says that I'm not a vindictive person. I was asked as a guest to come and speak. I was happy to do that. I don't believe they did that hoping they would get more money or not get money taken away. The fuck? So why are you threatening to take the money away? Why are you threatening to take away their funding? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever now. Like that doesn't make any sense. All right. And because, again, her speech was canceled, she is, in fact, threatening to take away funding for this school, which is crazy. What she's done is, the article reads that she's amplified a letter from a small group of Republican lawmakers asking the House Ways and Means Committee chair to cut from next year's budget more than $35 million in state funding proposed for South Carolina State. Understand, this isn't for extracurricular stuff, all right? Because what we need to understand is that the funding package that Donald Trump gave to HBCUs in 2025, right? All right, that was only to cover operational costs. That's why a lot of HBCUs, all right, are struggling in regards to their research programs, all right, and also their recruitment programs, so on and so forth, because they don't have that funding, right? This $35 million that she is asking for Congress to cut from South Carolina State, all right, is for their operational course. Operational use. Good gosh. All right. But that's what she's doing. That shit crazy. All right. She's basically saying that she doesn't want this school to operate, is what she's saying.
Literally to exist. That
is absolutely diabolical. It is. It's wicked. It's evil, to be perfectly honest with you. All right. And here's what she said. This is, she reposted a local news story. All right. And she said, what happened at South Carolina State University this week is emblematic of what's happening at institutions across our state and country, where the far left has silenced freedom of speech and pushed its radical anti-American agenda for far too long. I applaud the members of the General Assembly who, like me, firmly believe that not one dime of taxpayer money should ever go to a school that discriminates against conservative views. It certainly won't happen when I'm governor. I want to read this last part right here. Hold on one moment. This is what she said too. She posted this also. She said in another post, the protest and pressure to cancel me was solely about my political viewpoints. They don't have to agree with you, friend. You can't force your ideology onto people. You can't come to a school, all right, that you call woke, has woke policies. We know that that's just a dog whistle, all right? You know you can't call us the N-word. You know you can't say that you don't think that any of them belong at that school. I know you want to say that they only got there because of affirmative action, even though that's not even a thing anymore in college admissions. You want to say those things, but you can't. So you say things like DEI and woke. That's what you do. That's what you do. What were you about to say, Hector? I'm sorry.
You want to talk about going after schools that don't, I guess, agree with your political views, and no school should be discriminated against based off of political values, then we can have a conversation about Christian schools and the fact that Catholic schools and whatnot have the right to turn down some kids and families based off of being in a same-sex relationship, but then they would still have access to federal funds. I mean, we can cut those out too, since you want to go that route. We just had a case here in Colorado where a school took it up to their court, the Supreme Court, actually, in believing that they should have the right to all that funding, and then still have the ability to look at that couple and say no. And I'm like, yeah, fuck you. No, just keep it consistent. Do what you want. Just keep it consistent. And then you'll realize you really don't, they don't want what they actually say that they do, because they realize it's going to disproportionately, in many cases, impact them. It's rules for thee, not for me.
Not for me. Yep. Rules for thee, not for me. Always and forever. That's exactly how it goes in the United States of these America. I'm looking for this pretty awesome video that I have found on this, and I'm trying to find it. It basically showed the governor speaking about this matter, and not the lieutenant governor. So Yvette, I think is how you pronounce it. It showed her speaking about it and what the South Carolina State University students were doing. So do you have another story that you have? And I can find the video.
I do.
Because I did this at random.
I'm waiting till we get to your other thing, because it's going to tie into my thing. We're going to... Oh, yeah, I'll wait for that one. Give me a second. So, the ballroom.
Found it. Go ahead, Frank. Okay, I found it. I'm sorry.
You got it?
My bad.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I found it. Okay, let me see. Boy, when I tell you my eyes have seen the glory and the coming, because I swear to God, I can't see. There we go. All right. Unfortunately, yeah. Can we mute YouTube, or if you want, are you going to cut this out if you get the email?
I can just ding it. I just cut it out.
Ooh, that big. Okay. Here we go. I want to play this video. This is prior to her being canceled for coming, but I want you all to listen to her words. And then you'll know why she got canceled. I said play, Captain.
On the campus of SC State University. Let's be clear. Facts trump feelings in the real world. President Trump and conservatives have done more for HBCUs than any administration in history. I must be doing something right, because woke mobs are coming after me for being a champion of eliminating radical DEI scams on college campuses. So bring it on. Just like President Trump, I'll never back down or bend a knee to the woke radicals. I'm ending DEI on campuses once and for all.
Hamilton, and Middleton. People that attended our school that have been activists and who have died for what they believe in. South Carolina State is an active representation of that. We acknowledge that every year. So how can someone who doesn't even respect that come and encourage us and uplift us at a graduation?
On the campus of SC State University.
Shut up, lady.
Erica, can you help me with some math here?
I just want to tell you what I commented on that first.
I'm curious.
If I can find, maybe my comment I deleted because I called her a white lady. Yeah, I said something to the effect of basically like, why is this white lady wanting to speak at this particular college? And why is the administration not listening to the students? It's obviously they don't want her there.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they finally listened. Because she ain't going to be there. Ha ha, gotcha, bitch. Anywho, so there's that. The children are all right, though, y'all. If the children keep standing up like that for what they want, all right, and, you know, speaking up and speaking out, and the kids are all right, y'all. The kids are all right.
They keep playing with us, talking about states' rights, acting like they care. Last I checked, over $17 billion is at least 27 times more than $595 million. So this talking point used after the Biden administration, during the Biden administration, that Donald Trump has done more for HBCUs than any other president is wrong on that note, on top of the fact that Obama gave more to HBCUs than Trump did. I do not know. Actually, I do know. I remember a specific podcast. It was a blonde white girl is where I remember seeing it go viral. And then all of a sudden, all these different people picked up that talking point and no one actually went and did the math. The reason why you guys will still hear them saying $2 billion is because they didn't actually look into the funding. It was $2 billion overall over the course of 7 years, or about $2 billion, 1.7, I believe is the number, to minority serving colleges through STEM programs. Specifically, HBCU package was $85 million. And that's where you get the $595 million number. You guys have got to stop freaking lying so much.
Yep. And I mean, when you think about it, still at the end of the day, even if it was $2 billion, guess what? That's still less than 17 million. Mm-hmm. It's still less than 17 billion. It's still less than 4.1 billion that, you know, Barack Obama gave also during his presidency. So, I mean, let's be honest here. And they also don't look at the fact that he tried to cut HBCU funding, but Alma Adams out of North Carolina, all right, held his feet to the fire along with Kamala Harris.
That's
along
right.
with Kamala Harris.
She sure did.
Yep. So the Futures Act. So, yep. There we go. All right. But, you know, Kamala ain't never did nothing for black people.
Nothing. Another thing.
That HBCU funding that you all tout, that you all love, all right, that y'all all love, that was Kamala Harris. Her and another senator, along with Representative Adams, all right, made sure that got pushed through. Is it called Funding Our Future? I got to make sure I get the right name for that one, Hector.
I'm not even going to quote it because I'm not exactly sure. You got it. It was black people who ensured that HBCU funding remained under Donald Trump's administration. And you have to ask yourself, for the most pro-black president, the pro-black job president, the pro-black people lifting themselves by the bootstrap president, why would you have to lie about your contributions to the community? If you contributed, you contributed. Why do you got to lie about it? Why are you still inflating the impact of things like the opportunity zones? Which was, let's make all these corporations plant their feet.
Future Act.
in neighborhoods near Black communities. And then most of the tax incentives and benefit go towards the white people of the communities. But because there's some niggas there, W niggas. That's what y'all do. That's what y'all do.
It was the Futures Act. I was right. So the Futures Act.
Futures Act. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So that was it. That was Kamala Harris. There was another senator and also, again, Representative Alma Adams out of North Carolina. Yep. And again, remember, $255 million in permanent funding for 10 years for predominantly minority institutions. That includes Asian students. That includes Hispanic and Latino students. All right. That's what that was for. Okay. 85 million of that, all right, went directly to HBCUs. Okay. Math. Okay. But with that being said, we got to talk about the rats, y'all. Seriously. We have to, Hector. We have to. Okay. We can't ignore them any longer. It's pretty fucking bad. And let's talk about it. All right. So let's take it from, my God, I ain't gonna hold y'all. It's a lot, y'all. And also, you should be concerned considering the country that we live in now, and who's president. But you know what? Let's just do it. So, what is the Hantavirus? Again, taking it from the top, y'all. According to the World Health Organization, all right, the Hantavirus is a disease spread by coming to contact with rodents, again, like mice, rats, and voles. You come into contact with like the dust, all right, from like their urine, their feces, and or saliva, all right. And basically what happens is when their nesting area is disturbed. And so like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen like a bird's nest, all right, but like I've seen a bird's nest. I've never seen a rodent's nest before, but like if you move it, sometimes stuff will like come out of it, right? If you breathe that in, all right, that's how you can get sick. There are two types of the hantavirus. One is HPS, which is the respiratory kind. It's called hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. All right. And this one is found typically in the Americas, like typically South America. And the early symptoms do include fatigue, fever, and muscle aches, all right, along like your thighs, your hips, and your back. And it's followed by a rapid onset of breathing difficulties as your lungs fill with fluid. So it's like a really quick pneumonia. The second kind is the, I'm going to mispronounce this, so y'all bear with me. All right. The hemorrhagic. How do you say that, Hector? I'm going to spell it. Look it up on Google. Let me spell it for you. I got to Google it. All right. All right. I know I say hemorrhagic, but this is hemorrhagic. HEMORRHAGIC. How do you say that?
I love how this is my job now to figure out the word.
How do you say that?
Hemorrhagic.
Hemorrhagic. Thank you. Hemorrhagic. So hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome, HFRS. All right. So this is the one that can impact like your kidneys. All right. This form of it is typically found in Europe, and it causes a fever, chills, back and abdominal pain, and severe cases can lead to low blood pressure and acute kidney failure. Right. This shit is the plague. I ain't trying to scare y'all, but this shit's the plague. Okay. We've been here before. Okay. History has been here before. Just like in 2020, when C-19 was the 1918 Spanish influenza all over again, this shit is the plague. Okay? God, oh my God. Oh, so listen, y'all. It's not usually like transmitted from human to human, so person to person, right? However, all right, human to human like transmission does occur, and that's called the Andes strain for like the Andes Mountains out there in Argentina, right? And the World Health Organization does think that is what's happening now aboard the MV Hondius. I hope I pronounced that correctly. This is the cruise ship that took off in late March. All right. And they do a pretty long excursion is what they do. And they go to different places all around the world. All right. Just doing different types of field trips and shit. And keep it simple, right? So this ship is currently headed to Spain after being denied access for passengers to disembark in Cape Verde, which is an African island off of the west coast of the continent. The ship is now headed towards the Canary Islands, which is off the coast of Spain. And local officials there are definitely against it. There are reports saying that the officials will refuse to allow the passengers to get off the ship. So no disembarkment for them. We'll have to see what happens there. Thus far, y'all, 3 people have died from this. And one was the first person to die was a Dutch man aboard the ship on April 11th. And his body wasn't removed from the ship until April 24th. That's 13 days, almost 2 weeks that his body stayed on the ship. His wife was able to leave the boat. This was before they knew what he had. His wife was able to leave the boat, and she was sick. She was suffering basically gastrointestinal issues, and she got on a plane to go to Johannesburg in South Africa. By the time the plane landed, she was so ill that they had to rush her to the emergency room, and she died there on April 26th. She died at the emergency room. Another person died from the virus on May 2nd, and what investigators believe is that the infection likely originated from a bird watching excursion in Argentina that occurred near a landfill where the couple, the man and the wife that passed away, they may have been exposed to infected rodent droppings before boarding the ship. So that's what they think is going on there. And I'm telling you about this because, okay, all right, we may think that this happened, tens of thousands of miles away, but I mean, C-19, all right, started where? Started in China, all right? So, but of course, viruses spread. All viruses spread. That's why we have protocols in place to stop the spread of infectious diseases and viruses and, maintain and contain public health emergencies, right? Well, welcome to the United States in 2026, where we sometimes just don't give a fuck. All right. So what does this mean for the United States of America? And the main thing I want to let you all know, Hector, I'm not being very much fun right now, am I?
Nah, this ain't a fun topic.
No, but sometimes you laugh to keep from crying, because if you think about it, yesterday was Cinco de Mayo, all right? And it fell on a Tuesday. When was the last time Cinco de Mayo fell on a Tuesday? Huh, Hector?
I don't know.
May 5th, 2020.
Oh. In the Pandarosa?
Yep. In the Pandarosa. Yep. So what's going on is that Trump did remove us from the World Health Organization back in January of 2025. All right. And what that means for the United States is that we don't have access to global databases to track new outbreaks of infectious diseases. It also limits our research capabilities, especially when it comes to animal to human transmission, because we no longer have access to samples of new strains of diseases and viruses, and our ability to issue timely and effective travel warnings for Americans abroad, right? So, I mean, there's that. We have, not all is lost, guys. Not all is lost, okay? I promise. All right. We do have some agencies and departments, of course, that are still in place, but there has been a major shift here in the United States of America towards isolationism, right? And it's of all things that we should be selfish about, right? Viruses and diseases ain't it. right? So like what we do have in place is we still have the Office of Pandemic Preparedness and Response. All right. That is a policy that we have in place, is out of the White House or the executive branch. And what it is this was signed into law in 2023, established by Congress. All right. And it's not something that Trump can just get rid of. It has to exist. So it exists, but how active is it is the question. That we don't really know, because we do know that last summer, Donald Trump took it upon himself to send everyone who works for that team home for the summer. Like he just like go home and cleared out the office. So, I mean, there's that. So we don't necessarily know how active they are, but they're supposed to be the ones who advise the president about these matters, and they coordinate basically the federal response to biological threats. And oh my gosh. Also, another thing that we have is the Administration for Strategic Preparedness and Response. They go by ASPR. All right. And they're within the Department of Health and Human Services. And they kind of serve as like the boots on the ground people for public health emergencies. Right. And the thing is, though, is that with their new plan that they have put out there for public to go over for the years of 2026 to 2029, right? It focuses like on medical supply chain resilience and rapid response capacity is what it does. And then also we have the CDC, of course. We have the CDC. But we know about the CDC because what's happening is that, I promise y'all, I don't mean to not be the fun today. I'm sorry, but I have to give you the news as it is, okay? I'm sorry for not being the fun, but here we are. Because like to further ensure that we die, to further ensure that we can't handle another pandemic, the Trump administration did actually propose a 53% budget cut for the CDC, which, RFK Jr. also oversees as part of, as the HHS secretary. All right. But Congress did strike that down in their appropriations bill, but RFK Jr. has been using loopholes to basically reach that target of reducing the CDC's budget. They've frozen grants, and these grants are not being doled out for several infectious diseases, including things like viral hepatitis, tuberculosis prevention, and HIV/AIDS, right? They've also cut staffing. Up to 80% of the original center directors within the CDC have been replaced, or their positions strictly eliminated. And when we say replace, we mean replace with loyalists. So people that don't have our best interests at heart, there's that. People that aren't qualified, there's that. So here we are. And and they're eliminating these positions as part of basically a move towards a more office of strategy, a more centralized office of strategy is what it is. They're trying to kill us. Also, funding for specific public health programs in certain states have been cut, right? Like California, Minnesota, Colorado, and Illinois have been terminated, or the funding has been delayed. And what that means is basically public health, all right, is, an outbreak. So when there's an outbreak of a virus or a disease, all right, your state's public health department, all right, is the one that will basically issue the notices, do the tracking, make sure that people have access to vaccines if available, so on and so forth, all of that good stuff, right? Well, they cut funding for that to multiple states, right? And that's a whole nother conversation within itself, because the majority of the states that they cut funding to are blue states. So that's a whole nother conversation, and we don't have the time for that today. All right. Another thing that they've done is to try to basically get money back, right, is that they have they've done the infrastructure clawback, right? Is that they have canceled about $12 billion in C-19 era grants. So if these grants were created and issued during the pandemic, but they were still in place, what they did was they cut that. All right. So that's $12 billion that won't be doled out. Who knows what they're going to do to it? Maybe fund a war. I don't know. Line Trump's pockets. Who knows? But $12 billion that they don't have going towards research and things of that nature. Right. I definitely, we should be concerned.
So, from what I'm seeing here, the version or variant is the Andes virus. This is the one that can spread directly from human to human. One of the things is it's not quite like the flu or COVID, where it's respiratory was quick, but the problem is if this gets inside of you, it buries in very deep and you're just kind of fucking cooked.
Yep.
So in terms of its expansion, that has yet to be seen. But at the end of the day, especially with everything you mentioned with the World Health Organization, which we're no longer part of, we're not the most equipped for if this could happen to be in the US, or if we better yet get another variant, because that's where mostly this would have to really start spreading. Those at high risk of person-to-person transmissions are people who have been in close quarters for prolonged periods of time with someone who has been infected, such as the married couple that you were referencing. But like healthcare workers or those who share a household. The ship's doctor showed symptoms of the virus and was evacuated from the ship. It isn't clear yet how other people on board may have been infected. So that we're still waiting on to see the impact of the other individuals who also shared the ship with them. Because I believe you said it was 13 days? 13 days before they were taken off of it? So I'm very curious as to see what happens with the rest of them. We'll find out in a bit, and we won't find out via the United States.
So just got note of this, so thank you, is that there are states that did join the World Health Organization.
Oh.
So that's pretty cool. So like New York, it was New York, California, Illinois, and it says several states, but 3 is not several. Also, Washington has joined it too, which is a good deal. So I want to look to see what other states have joined it. So, because I think that's pretty freaking cool that they did. So they can stay abreast of the tracking, which is wonderful. But what about the states that haven't done it? And then also the cuts in funding. Okay, how can I put this to put it succinctly? Being a part of the organization doesn't guarantee you anything except for that you'll have the information, right? So that's wonderful. So that's fantastic, right? You'll have the info. However, what you can do with that info is going to be what's most important. So if the states don't have the funding in order to actually do anything about it, because the majority of their funding comes from, let's say, the federal government, which has issued funding cuts for them, then what is it that they can do? They can tell their people about it, but how does the state go about implementing a plan to actually mitigate the impact? So I think that's something that we have to think about that also, if we're going to be making like informed, basically coming to informed decisions about these matters and also having informed understanding about what's going on. So I think that is definitely important. And why the hell would you want to cut funding to health? Hector, they're trying to kill us.
It's, well, you know, all these things are blown out of proportion, Erica. Human beings are very versatile, healthy people naturally before we start taking things to keep us healthy. And it's that damn acetaminophen. It's that damn acetaminophen. It's screwing with everybody.
Acetaminophen. How you say it? Acetaminophen.
Well, let's see how we say that.
Acetaminophen.
Oh, jeez. So there are vaccines in other countries, but we don't have any in the United States that's like federally recognized to treat it. For the most part, we can just address the symptoms, but there is no necessary cure to this. So here's the hoping it doesn't spread. We don't get some crazy variant or anything else.
Yep.
Doesn't look like that has been... we've had 800 and something cases since 93.
Yeah.
35 have been fatal, and that was with the Sin nombres. It's mostly Andes and Sin nombres that causes Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, and that shit is fucked. But yeah. supportive care mostly.
So far, 3 people have died from this outbreak of the hantavirus aboard the MV Hantavirus. And about 8 others are sick with it, including a man in Switzerland who wasn't on the ship. He's been diagnosed with it. And again, Donald Trump has spent the last year dismantling our ability to handle another pandemic. So all I can say is stay aware, stay woke.
Stay woke. In other news,
stay woke.
This motherfucking ballroom. Those of you who do not know, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, it was proposed by Trump and Republicans that $1 billion of taxpayer funds is put towards this 300 or estimated $350 million ballroom. Let's go over this story here with y'all. And we got to asking the people about this. And the people say, no. Americans oppose Trump ballroom 2-1. Even more oppose his signature on money. Americans oppose President Donald Trump tearing down the east wing of the White House to build the ballroom by a 2-1 margin, oppose a 250-foot arch by an even wider margin, and oppose the addition of Trump's signature to paper currency by more than 5-1, according to an ABC News Washington Post and IPSOS poll conducted using IPSOS Knowledge Panel. The Trump administration announced the construction of a 90,000 square foot ballroom in July, with Trump promising he won't interfere with the current building. By October, demolition started on the east wing of the White House, which was built in 1902 and renovated in 1942. This poll finds that more than half of Americans, 56%, oppose tearing down the east wing to make way for the ballroom, with 28% in support and 15% unsure. The results are nearly identical to an October poll. Currently, strong opposition, 47%, outweighs strong support, 16%, by about a 3-1. In December, the National Trust for Historic Preservation, a privately funded nonprofit designated by Congress to protect historic sites, filed a lawsuit seeking to stop the ballroom construction until the administration completed the federal review process standard for federal building projects. Still didn't happen, by the way. Earlier this month, an appeals court panel allowed construction of the ballroom to continue, granting an administrative stay of an earlier injunction. I'm trying to find the part about the billion. Let's see. Oh, I didn't even know about this one. This is new. Republicans proposed a bill that would provide $400 million in funding for the facility. It comes after Trump said in October that the ballroom would be paid for 100% by me and some friends of mine. The government is paying absolutely nothing. Democratic lawmakers have introduced legislation to regulate the project and impose restrictions on donations aimed at prohibiting bribery. Yeah. Where's the amount I was looking for? I thought I had the one for $1 billion up. Taxpayer funds would cover at least part of the project, $2 million in special initiative funds and $13 million in matching grants. And then these ones are done on the signature on money, but I'm going to go back and see what he proposed.
Check Discord.
Thank you. Yeah, this was the one I was looking for. I thought that had it up, but I did want to go over the poll because that reflects everyone, Republican, Democrat, whoever. But the gleaming 90,000 square foot space that he repeatedly said would cost the public nothing may ultimately leave taxpayers on the hook for $1 billion due to new security enhancements that are tied to the project. And those security enhancements were pushed specifically after an alleged person tried to pop the president.
Do us all a favor.
Allegedly.
Oh, wait, I said that off of mute. Shit.
Allegedly. You know, allegedly, wink, wink. Senate Judiciary Committee.
Can we sidebar for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm so sorry to interrupt. But bro, think about it. I actually think that it would be worse if he were to be unalived, because then they turn him into a martyr. And nobody wants him to be a martyr. Could you imagine the angel wing photos that we would have? Like, ew. So, no, stay alive.
Suppression.
It'd just be so bad.
Suppression typically correlates and causes radicalization. I think the party is radical enough. I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart when I say I don't want anything to happen to Donald Trump outside of natural causes. I mean that like sincerely. Because if it does, we're fucked.
Super fucked. Super fucked. Yeah, I was like, again, I was talking to my uncle and we were just talking about it. And the thing about it is that he has so much power. Congress and the Supreme Court have given him almost what he wants, plenary power, right? Almost what he wants, because think about it. Like, he has his basically his own puppet as the head of CBS, right? He can sit there and call a CBS news anchor awful to her face and nothing happens. Like, if that was Barbara Walters, that interview would have ended right there. And she would have told him about himself. Baba was not taking that shit, all right? She didn't care who she worked for. She wasn't taking that. But now we have, you know, CBS basically being his news outlet now. And then we have the fact that, you know, NBC had to divest from MSNBC, which now goes as MS Now, in order to take the heat off of them so that they could still have access to the press briefings and all of that jazz, and so that they would still be able to ask them questions. Because I don't know if you noticed this, right? But NBC News exactly, gets a lot of interviews with Donald Trump. They get a lot of exclusives with him now. All right. When MSNBC was a part of the fold, that was not the case. Additionally, another thing is that Jimmy Kimmel, of course, he keeps coming after him because of the target. Like, Jimmy Kimmel doesn't play, right? He's going to keep exercising his right to free speech and airing out his grievances, which he can do per the First Amendment. But the thing is that these companies, these entities, Hector, they're scared of this motherfucker for something. They're just scared. He holds all of the news. I mean, all of the power. I am not dealing with this person right now. I'm sorry, guys. I just got a message that almost made my heart drop, and it kind of did make my heart drop. And then I saw what the message was, and I was like, stop playing in my fucking face, friend. Bruh, come on. Moving on. So anywho, Congress and the Supreme Court have given ultimate power pretty much to a fucking idiot. Okay? And that's what we're dealing with. We are dealing with an idiot, because if this type of power was given, let's say, to Joe Biden, to Barack Obama, hell, even friggin' George W. Bush, we would still not be in the mess in which we are in right now. And we are in a pickle. We in a conundrum, as Tracy Jordan would say. If you know, you know. A conundrum. All right. Sorry, Hector. I had to rant. I said no rants today, but here I am. Sorry.
Nah. Once I knew we were doing an additional 30 minutes, we knew somebody was going to rant. I was just going to see who did it first. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, Republican in Iowa, has released a long-term immigration and border patrol funding bill that includes $1 billion earmarked for security improvements accompanying the overall ballroom project. So no, this is for the whole thing. It's supposed to accompany, it's supposed to be alongside it to help it be secure, as if that wouldn't have already been estimated beforehand. Or you want to tell me the President of the United States, when he presented this ballroom idea and started destroying the East Wing of the White House, didn't take into consideration that maybe we should worry about the security of it. Crazy. Interesting. The legislation states that the money is earmarked for the purposes of security adjustments and upgrades, including within the perimeter fence of the White House compound, to support enhancements by the United States Secret Service relating to the East Wing modernization project, including above ground and below ground security features. The language is part of a Republican-only reconciliation bill the party plans to pass this year. The overall package is a major priority for GOP leadership as well as the president. Still, some Republicans expressed skepticism about taxpayers contributing to the ballroom just last week. In a prepared statement, a White House spokesperson praised the Republican-led spending proposal. I don't give a fuck about that. Senate Democrats hope to derail the $1 billion proposal. They plan to force a vote to try and strip the provision out of the bill when it comes to the Senate floor later this month. Just flagging that now everyone gets an up and or down vote on the ballroom. Senator Brian, I don't know how to say that, Schwartz, a Democrat in Hawaii, said in a post on X. So there's that. Yay, guys.
I'm just start making up names for people like they do for Kamala Harris.
We're paying for his fake gold ballrooms and decorations. That's great.
Yeah. Remember, Hector, you remember that time they told us, right, that it was gonna be from basically donations and the president's own money?
Yeah.
And them motherfuckers believed him?
I thought it was funny because you got your friends to put up 350 million in private funds for a ballroom, but you couldn't get your friends to put up some money for when you shut down the government and starved people. You couldn't get your friends to come up some money
us down.
to pay TSA workers.
Down.
None of it.
Hector, do you remember when this was happening? They would argue us down. That no, this isn't taxpayer money. No, he would never. Then the motherfucker tried suing us for $10 billion. He tried suing us for $10 billion. That's obviously going nowhere, right? And so like, oh, that won't work. Like, what are we doing? We have to go the extra mile now. Lights, camera, action. Okay? What is happening? What does it have to do? Does it have to, chat, close your ears. Close your ears. All right? Close your ears. Does it have to drag its nuts across their face in order for them to get it? What are we doing here?
No, because then they'd lick it.
That part. Then you're absolutely right.
They just lick it.
Yep. They would.
Like, oh shit.
You're right.
What a day.
I take it.
That's all I.
What a day. What a day. Oh, quick commercial break here because I'm all out of stories this side. I just want to show you all some videos.
Okay.
That's it.
I got my last one.
But quick commercial break, y'all. Thank you all so very much for being here for episode 21 of the Fun and Facts Show, where I am the fun and
I use the facts.
Yes. All right. And we're so happy to have you here. We just want to thank you all again for taking the time out of your busy afternoons to hang out with us to get your weekly news updates with a twist. With that being said, if you'd like to support us, support the stream, our links are in our respective bios. Please do take a look and do all of the good things. All right. This does take a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of reading, a lot of research. All right. So as independent directors, producers, editors, political commentators, sometimes journalists when we get to writing, all right, also website hosts, graphic designers, creative designers, it's a lot.
Everything.
All right. Please do support us. Your kindness and your generosity is definitely appreciated. All right. So let's keep doing all of the good things, guys. And any love that is received, we'll definitely give thanks for it at the end of the stream. Thank you all so very much for all that you do, because all is appreciated and most definitely accepted. With that being said, Hector, do you have any more news? Because I got not really one more, but I want to say something about Hegseth.
Okay. Really quickly, I need my black people to check in. I need my black people to check in the chat. Black people, if you're here, put a 1 in the chat. Black people, if you are here, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you're here, black people. I just need my black people to check in before I show y'all this. This is breaking news for black people. But I need to make sure my black people are here.
I got a lot of black people here.
Tell them over there, put a 1 in the chat. Let them check in, okay?
They are. It's a lot of them here. They're putting ones. They're listening to you.
I see my black people. Okay, cool. So this is breaking news. Breaking news I just got. We got rare footage. Those of you who do not know, there is 4 black House Republicans and 1 black House Senate left in Congress. I've talked about this before. 4 of them will be leaving the House this year. And if we don't get any more in, there's only going to be 1 black Republican in your entire Congress. Only one. And I just got an insider report of them getting their talking points from the president. And I just want to show you guys. Let me put it up on the screen. Insider report, y'all. Insider report.
You ain't shit.
Eating up those talking points.
I bet that's even white people laughing.
Thank you guys for coming to my TED Talk. Should I do my last story and then let you do the videos?
Yeah.
Okay. FBI raids. Listen, I had to take over the fun mantle for a second. We had a lot of depressing news today.
Yeah, it was. Oh, but another thing is that control of the media. That's where I was going with that. Control of the media is that they control the media. And Hegseth is one of the people that has control of the media too. He trained them not to ask him any fucking questions, right? All right, because every time they ask him a question, he get an attitude. He get real snappy, right? Because they should be questioning Hegseth. Why is it that he sent 12 U.S. service members into Kuwait, what was it? God damn it, it was Kuwait, wasn't it? It was into Kuwait. And they sent them into an unprotected area where drone strikes were happening with, again, no protection, and 6 of them died. 6 died. 6 service members died. We need to talk about that more, all right? It's the Benghazi of the Trump admin, and nobody is talking about it. He sent 12 service members into an unprotected area, all right? And 6 of them died, and we're not saying anything about it. So there's that. Is anyone shocked? Not really, because they're really extremely incompetent. However, with that being said, the fuck are we doing here, right? What are we doing here? So there's that. But yeah, I'm so sorry, Hector. Thank you. Go on. I'll shut up now.
No, you're good. One second. The end. Final story I wanted to go over is FBI raids. I vividly recall the Trump administration campaigning off of the fact that he was politically persecuted to hell. And the Democrats didn't want to see him win and fix the country. And that's why he had all these indictments. That's why he had his felony charges. That's why he was held civilly liable for sexual assault. Is because Democrats just didn't want him to win. They didn't want him to fix the country. And then the second he gets into the Oval Office, him and his appointees literally utilize the executive branch to go after his political opponents, many of which those lawsuits have fallen through. Lisa Cook, James Comey, Jack Smith, still going through hell. They just opened up another one into James Comey, if I'm not mistaken. What's the name of those other? There's a few other individuals that I'm completely forgetting about. But he just, Sussman and Godfrey, that's a big one I talk about. Literally just started weaponizing the executive branch just to go after people who did not like him. Cut funding to universities that spoke accurately on Black African-American history. I believe that one museum just had a poster off of him and January 6, 2021, going over the events of that day. And he cut funding from them because he said they were lying when they said that over 40-something officers were assaulted and this much millions of dollars in property damage was done. Literally, Letitia James, thank you. Literally went after them for that. And now we just had a recent raid. This one was actually in the past. And then today we had an FBI raid of someone prominent in the redistricting war. FBI raids office of top Democratic leader in redistricting wars. Virginia's L. Louise Lucas has been unafraid to stand up to Trump. Now she's become a target after a major victory. The FBI raided the Portsmouth, Virginia office of Virginia Senate President pro tempore L. Louise Lucas, a Democratic leader in the state behind his redistricting victory on Wednesday, ostensibly over corruption allegations. Lucas, an 82-year-old great-grandmother, has been a frequent critic of Republicans and President Trump and is an ally to Virginia's Democratic Governor Abigail Spanberger. Fox News covered the FBI raid live. This is the Post. The Bureau reportedly has multiple search warrants and is also raiding a cannabis, I don't know if I can say that word on here, dispensary co-owned by Lucas next door. Lucas has frequently advocated for MJ legalization, and in 2022, her business was found by the Virginia Mercury to be selling Delta-9 THC, a substance illegal to sell in Virginia, although many of the products in her store were found to be mislabeled. Lucas is combative on social media, posting memes in support of Virginia's redistricting effort and going toe-to-toe with Republicans like President Trump and Senator Ted Cruz. That could be why she's being targeted by the FBI, which under Director Kash Patel has vindictively pursued Trump's critics. Now, there is some suspicion here in regards to just the substance allegations because it's Louisiana. hold on, I got the state, Virginia, excuse me. It's Virginia. The laws are the laws. I believe Trump passed the executive order to change the scheduling of it, but still many states have very much have it a criminalized penalty. So there's some things that she has on the belt that surmounts as a fine, but this full on raid right here is insane. He did pick up on an investigation that actually did start under the Biden administration. So that's kind of the guys that they're going under. They're carrying on that part. But after the events of the Supreme Court ruling and redistricting, specifically targeting this woman who already would have paid her fines for this store that she owned in 2022, I found to be super duper fascinating. Super duper fascinating. We can follow this up with the popular raid of Hannah, what's her name? I'm trying to remember her name, and this is the story I'm going to go over now because the Washington Post and that reporter won a Pulitzer Prize yesterday. The Washington Post on Monday won the Pulitzer Prize for Public Service for its coverage of President Donald Trump's far-reaching efforts in his second term to shrink the federal workforce and overhaul government through the Elon Musk-led U.S. DOGE service. The Post also won the Pulitzer Prize for feature photography for work by former staff photographer Jahi Chikwendu, documenting the struggle of a young couple coping with a terminal cancer diagnosis even as they awaited the birth of their daughter. The stories that won the Public Service Prize, widely considered the top honor in American journalism, prominently featured staff writer Hannah Nattenson's reporting that chronicled how federal workers' lives were upended last year. In an essay, she recalled being the newspaper's federal government whisperer, a role she described as all-consuming, involving interactions with more than 1,000 sensitive government sources. And this was the basis for when they raided her house. They said that she got this information illegally, that the person who would have given it to her was not authorized to. They're fighting their information in court, but now they're going after this reporter for coming it out under the guise of being sensitive information. It wasn't. And they have yet to prove it. On January 14th, FBI agents executed a search warrant at Nattenson's home in Virginia, seizing equipment while subpoenaing the Post that same day. Nattenson wasn't the target, the government said, but it alleged that the raid was necessary in an investigation into a federal contractor accused of illegally retaining classified government materials. The Post is in court litigating Nattenson's case, attempting to retrieve her electronic devices and arguing that the government's actions amounted to an unprecedented overreach that could chill journalists' ability to do their jobs in the future. In this citation, the Pulitzer jurors said they recognized the Post for piercing the veil of secrecy around the Trump administration's chaotic overhaul of federal agencies and chronicling in rich detail the human impacts of the cuts and the consequences for the country. The Public Service Prize is awarded to the Post as an institution. Merle Cornfield and former Post staff writer Jeff Stein also heavily contributed to the package, which drew from journalists' work across the newsroom. I watched the video, and unfortunately I do not have it here, of her being honored yesterday for her work. And I just want to say W. Hannah Nattenson, because her reporting also led to the videos that we've seen released within the last month of those two moronic DOGE employees and the directives that they use, or the litigation that they use to cut DEIA projects. And they couldn't even define what DEIA is. If it wasn't for her reporting, we wouldn't have had those videos on display. And that's the importance of independent journalism. But when the Trump administration can allege that you got sensitive data, and by sensitive data, they mean shit that makes me look bad, and then raid your home and take that information from you, that threatens our ability to tell the truth. So W. Nattenson for standing up. I hope the rest of them also continue to whoop this administration's ass as it rightfully deserves.
No one can see that this is clear targeting. It's clear targeting is what it is. Like, what are we doing? How does this shitty... You know what's crazy, though, is that the Trump administration legitimately has no wins when it comes to their Department of Justice. So there's that part. They don't have any wins when it comes to the cases that they've done for retribution. They're all faulty. They have fallacies. They're weak. Because, again, you can indict the ham sandwich. So there's that. I wanted to give you all just a little bit more about the Hegseth thing, because I feel like it was kind of like a cliffhanger. Like, what the hell happened? So basically, all right, like a week before the February 28th for Epic Fury, right, the majority of the soldiers stationed in Kuwait were relocated to different positions in Jordan and Saudi Arabia, which will be further away from Iranian missile range. Several members of the 103rd Sustainment Command, which is the unit that the six service members that were unalived, that's who they were assigned to. For some reason or another, right, their orders were different than everyone else's. They were told to pack up everything and actually move to port of Shuaiba. I hope I pronounced that right. And that's a smaller military outpost south of Kuwait City. For some reason, they were told to move there. And like when the war started, basically they weren't provided with any protection, no protection whatsoever. And this place was under active drone strikes. Because if you recall, right, the United States of America didn't let Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and during going the UAE, they didn't let any of our allies, like our friends out there in the Middle East, know what was going on. They just did it. They just did it. And not only did they just do it, they left these people, these service men and women, they left them out there with nothing to prevent them from coming into contact with harm. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. They left them in a triple wide trailer that had been converted into an office space, is what they did. And what ended up happening is that after a drone strike, fire engulfed the building. And fire engulfed the building. So there's that. What I wanted to do is I wanted to share the video of Senator Pat Ryan actually talking to Hegseth. And this is a short one, but if you were to search Pat Ryan and Hegseth Kuwait, you'll find like so much video. You'll even find like the full, I believe it's like 10 minutes. You'll find the full 10 minutes. This is just a short minute clip, but it brings to spotlight what is needed.
Internal analysis had said the site was indefensible from aerial attack and should not be used. Yet you sent our soldiers from the 103rd Sustainment Command there anyway. Is that true or false? True or false? Straightforward question.
Are you going to give me a chance to answer or just play gotcha?
Did you send them there or not?
We took proactive measures from the beginning to ensure force protection and defensive posture were maximized across the theater.
Let's talk about what defenses they had. Prior to the attack, officers on the ground knew our troops were vulnerable. In fact, they requested additional force protection. Did they receive it?
Wherever humanly possible, force protection and counter UAS was always made available.
They did not. In fact, when asked to describe the base's defense, one survivor who's come forward from the unit said, quote, I would put it in the none category. From a drone defense capability, none.
He left them without nothing. Also, I think it's wild that he wasn't able to just simply answer the question. That's another thing that's also telling about this information, about this administration, is the inability to just answer a question. I don't know why they can't, but they simply can't. And let's see here, because Hector's not here. So I can do what I want to do. All right, here we go. I wanted to show this video also. This is a video from Ashley. This is what I have been talking about. All right, because she always provides like amazing information. Absolutely shout out to Ashley the Baroness. She's absolutely amazing, amazing creator on this app and more. Check her out on Instagram and also over on the tube, but she's fantastic. She did this video and it was basically about like how they did redlining. All right, so there's that. So I want to show you this one here. This is what happens when you have several windows open. Here we go. Play.
World War II planning documents. Old housing files, census reports.
Let's go back.
I was going through some post-World War II planning documents. Old housing files, census reports, urban renewal notes, that sort of thing. And I found something that made me stop and go, wait, what? Because while this country was celebrating the post-war boom, the federal government was quietly tracking where Black families built wealth. Not to support it, not to expand it, of course. Just to keep an eye on it. And I realized that nobody tells us this part. So let me explain what was actually happening. Right after World War II, several federal agencies, they started making maps and reports about where Black middle-class neighborhoods were forming. Not poor neighborhoods, middle-class ones. This included the FHA, the old HOLC system, which, by the way, their redlining maps were still influencing decisions being made, the Census Bureau, the Department of Commerce, and city planning boards. And what were they tracking, right? They wanted to know where Black families were buying homes, where Black-owned businesses were growing, where Black income was rising, where Black professionals were moving. So basically, mapping Black prosperity. And the language in these reports, you know it wasn't positive. You'll see phrases along the lines of Negro income concentrations, areas of rising Negro prosperity, shifts in racial stability. And once those neighborhoods were identified, the pattern just becomes obvious. In cities across the country, Detroit, Chicago, DC, Atlanta, St. Louis, and plenty more, Black middle-class neighborhoods were flagged as risks to the existing racial balance. And after those neighborhoods were flagged, here's what tended to follow. Highways cut straight through them. Zoning changed to block business growth. Mortgage access tightened. Schools gerrymandered. Urban renewal targeted those areas. These weren't random decisions. They showed up right after the mapping. What the planners were worried about wasn't poverty. It was Black stability, Black families using the GI Bill, Black home ownership going up, Black business districts getting strong. Black upward mobility to them meant political power, voting power, economic influence. And the planning documents read like they were trying to keep that from growing too fast. So here's the part that made it click for me. By the 1950s, these maps were being used to justify decisions that were made to break apart Black neighborhoods, thriving Black neighborhoods, highway reconstruction, redevelopment, denial of loans, neighborhood clearance, school lines drawn to keep districts unequal. Not because the neighborhoods were failing, though, because they were succeeding. Planning boards literally described Black middle-class areas as something that needed to be managed before they influenced nearby white suburbia. So the government wasn't tracking crisis. They were tracking progress and stepping in. So here's the real takeaway. Black prosperity after World War II wasn't something that the government just noticed. It was something they monitored. And the resistance to it wasn't random. It was baked into housing policy, zoning policy, highway planning, and redevelopment. Different decade, different wording, same pattern. Track it, limit it, redirect it, contain it. And once you understand that pattern, a lot of what we see in modern housing just starts to make more sense. I was going through some
No notes. That's it. I wanted to show you all that one. And this is my final video of the day. I really don't have any notes. She just explained it all perfectly clear. If you don't get it, then that's not something that I can help you to understand. I'm sorry. I'm being nice. This is one I think I'm going to leave off on a funny here because shout out to Barack Obama. All right. This was Barack on talking to Stephen Colbert. All right. And I'm not going to provide any context. I just going to play the video because it's better that way.
Right. I'm looking for a new gig soon. And a lot of people tell me I should run for president.
Oh, well, you certainly have the look.
Thank you very much.
You have the hair.
Well, for the record, I think it's a stupid idea. How dumb do you think it is for people to say that I should run for president?
Well, the bar has changed.
That is true. That is true. At times subterranean.
So
I don't have to limbo so low.
Let me put it this way. I think that you could perform significantly better than some folks that we've seen.
All right.
Yeah. I have great confidence in that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is that an endorsement?
It was not.
Right. I'm looking for a new gig.
So Colbert and Stewart, Stewart Colbert ticket for 2028. if Trump can do it, then shit. My pet rock can do it. Come on. Yeah, you're muted.
Fucking A. I think those two would be better than the average Democrat.
Yeah, I do. I think so too. Yes. Obama said, not quite. He has to think about it. He'll tell us on Tuesday. He had to think about it. That's all. That's it. He had to think about it. But that's all I got for today. I just wanted to end it up on a funny note because the Hantavirus is going to kill us all.
Erica.
What?
Guys,
What?
based off of reporting that we have so far, documented back to 93, it is not widespread. It is a concern. It's not going to kill us all. Jesus Christ. Where the real fucking concern would be if that shit was anything like the flu or specifically the virus. Because one of the things people miss when it comes to the Pandarosa and the 19 is it wasn't so much the death rate that we were concerned about. It was how easily it spread. Because it spread so easily, while it had a 90% recovery rate to the other percentage on the mass scale that it spread, the death toll went up and up and up and up. It was just about the amount. If 50 million people caught it, you can take 5 to 10% of that. What's the number? That's the issue. But no, Republicans wanted to say, oh, because most people recovered, it was fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, healthy people were good. No, they weren't. Older people were more at risk. Yes, but it's yeah.
Yeah. You know what I would say is that I hope that this isn't the Andes version of it, right? Like the Andes strain. And this is going to sound crazy, but I hope like that the people who did catch it, like caught it during the bird watching thingy, right? That little bird watching adventure they went on. That's how they caught it, right? Right? This isn't something that's being spread from human to human. Because if it's person to person,
well, it is. The Andes one. That does spread human to human.
Yeah, Andes strain spreads human to human. I'm hoping it's not that one. I'm just hoping that the people got the shit from the rats. I mean, the whatever.
I got
you know what I mean? I hope it's not that strain.
Oh, yeah, if it's that strain, oof.
I hope it's not. They think it is. They don't know yet.
The concern is if that shit mutates. Because that's what the vid did.
Ooh, my God.
So, yeah, then we're fucked. But till then,
I'm sorry, I just got some disturbing news.
Oh boy.
It takes 2 weeks to inoculate. How you say that word? Inoculate?
Inoculate?
Inoculate.
Yeah.
Inculate. I said it right. Inculate. That's how it's spelled. I said it right. Inculate.
Oh, if it's not the N-O, then yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was confirmed as the Andes version.
Incubate. I don't have my glasses on, okay? I can't see. All right, what the word say? It's incubate. Oh, you said incubate? I thought that was an L. My bad. I can't see. I don't have my glasses or contacts on. Forgive me. All right, it's like taking an eye exam. Shit, I'm trying to read. Can we just end the live, please? Can we go?
We absolutely can. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to go live. We're going to do the debates. So literally give me, after we end, roughly 2 minutes. Roughly 2 minutes to set up. I'll get set up for the debates and see what chats we can get going with the Trump supporters, because I saw a couple in the chat here and requesting on up.
Play your favorite song.
I do have a thank you that I want to read out. So greatly appreciate everyone who was here for the stream, for the taps, for your shares, for your comments, for your subscriptions, for your super chats, your super stickers, your TikTok gifts, or your donations to the links in the bio. Thank you guys for checking out the Linktree, where we have our other social media platforms, Discord communities, shops where you guys can get yourself some merchandise. Because I don't know, I think we need to get even louder and louder as time passes in the Trump administration. One of the ways that Eric and I do so is also with our merch. We don't have to say something out in public. They read the hat. Kamala would never. And it starts some very interesting conversations, I will say. I've had some very interesting conversations with Trump supporters because of it. But thank you so much to Shaylu for the $20 super chat on YouTube. She said, what upsets me is all the people that don't even bother to vote. We need everyone to participate. Yes. As I said earlier, where's the voting doesn't matter crowd now? Where are they? We're spending millions upon billions of dollars to redistrict, to stack, to pack, to crack, but voting means nothing, right? These people are ridiculous. Thank you so much, Shaylu, for your support. I appreciate you. But that's all.
And I want to say thank you to Mark. Thank you, Mark, for purchasing all that gear from the EricaEffect.com. EricaEffect.com. You're fucking awesome. I hope you enjoy it. And also, depending on how I feel, I might upload some new stuff today. All right. So what we're going to do here is hang out just for a little bit so Hector can get set up. And then we'll go say hi to Hector. All right. With that being said, y'all, thank you again so much for joining us for the Fun and Facts Show, episode 21. We'll be back next Wednesday to do it all over again. All right. And with that being said, I don't know, Hector.
Last thing. I had to call your chat bums, Erica.
Why?
I called them bums.
Why my chat bums? What'd they do?
Because you had all them people in there. They couldn't even get you to 100,000 likes. I called them bums. I don't like it.
I don't care. Oh. Tap the screen.
They still bums. Anyways, thank you guys so much for being here.
Tap the screen, y'all.
I'm gonna hit that end button and
you're not gonna let him talk about y'all like that.
Kamala would never.